No, it did open
Okay, apologies. He might have, I don't know if he has an emergency. They said they just reached out to him. We just started responding. So he had a very specific agenda in mind. I could start talking so you guys aren't sitting here getting nothing while we're waiting to see if he gets in here. They're trying to find out what's going on with him as we speak. So I don't know if he had a family emergency or something, because I said normally he's up and early and ready to go.
Oh, okay.
Um,
All
so
right. Well, why don't you let me give a little introduction, Lou,
yeah, sure, sure, no
and
worries.
then we can get started.
Oh, I know everybody in this room. Oh, this is the troublemakers at GMIS we got. Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
yeah. All right. Good morning, everybody. We're here for another breakfast with NJ GMIS. I'm John Tugman. I'm one of the NJ GMIS board members, and I'm happy to be your host today. Uh, with us, there was going to be a Brandon Campbell from Bugcrowd that's going to speak to us about what Bugcrowd does and how Bugcrowd can help you, even if you're budget constrained, what their approach is to that. And since Brandon, it sounds like he might have had a family emergency or something to that effect. uh, Lou Malagrana, and Lou was also a guest speaker, will be speaking to us today and explain what Bugcrowd does. Lou is the CEO of StarNet Solutions, a company here in New Jersey. Recommend if you're having any type of IT situations or needs, you reach out to Lou and speak to Lou about how StarNet may be able to assist you. With that, Bugcrowd uh, gets involved with something that I was unaware of that was explained to me by Lou, and I'll ask you, Lou, to explain it again as clear as possible because I was unaware of it. There's things known as bug bounties that are offered by companies, i.e., Google and those kinds of companies, even smaller companies, that will ask the community to see if they can break into their network or compromise their IT infrastructure. And if they're capable of doing that, they would pay them a bounty of some amount. The bigger players will pay more money. The smaller players will pay what they can. But Bugcrowd uh, gets involved with those kinds of things where they'll attempt, to hack into a particular company. Um, because what they do is White House or ethical hacking services. And they have an approach that instead of doing pen test as we typically do annually or biannually or semi-annually, however you do it, but it's a point in time actually rather than an ongoing situation. Bugcrowd will speak to you about how you can turn that pen testing approach into a more on constant and something that is being reviewed on a regular basis instead of at a point in time you do an assessment, you get your report, and if all is good, great. And then another year goes by and you do another assessment to see how you're making out. Um, Bugcrowd has a little different approach than that, and Lou may be able to explain that. But again, it was going to be Brandon Campbell as the representative. He's the lead for SLED at Bugcrowd. And I'll just mention that. And with that, I'll turn it over to Lou. Lou, take it away. Thanks.
Thank you, John. So
You're welcome.
I'll make sure hopefully I'm as smooth and fluent as you were on that introduction. So yes, so Brendan is actually the SLED director over at Bugcrowd, and I'll make it pretty quick. Basically, they're a company of more or less ethical hackers, I guess. They're huge. They're global. They've been around for quite some time. Started by a gentleman in Australia. They do several things. One of the things that they do is, what John was saying, is they can do what they call bounties or bug bounties, as they call them. There's other companies that do similar things, but essentially what they do is, and we don't see this as much in government as we do in commercial, but you could put out a bounty or a reward, if you will, or an award that if somebody can hack your platform. Give you a quick example. Companies like Facebook and even Sophos with their antivirus, they actually put out bounties. Like Facebook had a $100,000 bounty if anybody could hack into them. Sophos has $80,000, and it is on their page, like all the bounties. You could actually go to bugcrowd.com and you could actually see all the bounties that they offer. So basically, what they'll do is in one item that they do is that they will challenge people to come in, but they're not just anybody. These are people that have been vetted for years and years and years of being one. They get checked for backgrounds. They get looked to see, well, is there any, have they done any malicious hacking? And then they kind of start in the trenches, as you will. They work their way up through going from, just doing these small type of hackings, white hat hacking. I mean, they don't try and destroy anything. They actually look to see if stuff is vulnerable, to getting to the ones where there's a few guys that actually participate. And they have this thing every year. I think it's put on by Comcast or Motorola. It's called Bug Bash. And you could attend this conference. You can watch these guys actually hack systems live. If they can hack into the company as you're watching them on these giant screens, they can earn $1 million. Some of these guys actually make a career out of this, but they don't just, like I said, they don't just give it to anybody. These guys have to be vetted. They start in the very basics. You have to apply. They do a full background check. I mean, military grade kind of thing, because they don't want anybody getting in like what happened at Nobi 4, had the Korean hacker get in who was posing as an employee. So basically what happens is they will bring them in, start them small, and then they can work their way up. And it takes years for them to get in. So it's not like you're just going to jump in. I'll give you a very quick example. Joe in my office is like, oh, I'd love to do that. Joe's proficient in many areas like that. I said, great. You got to start at the bottom. He goes, what's that mean? I said, well, they're basically going to put you to a bunch of challenges. If you can pass those, and you can start earning your way up. That's just one thing they do. That's kind of where the meat of their businesses come from. But what they've also done is they've gone into other areas where they're doing things like pen testing, whereas they use live teams to actually pen test the system. These guys will actually go in and they can look at it, yearly, monthly, whatever you like. Everything that they do is documented. So if they were pen testing your service, or if you were offering a bounty for them to try and get into your system, and a lot of smaller companies will offer bounties even as little as $100, because some of these companies are starting up as software companies and they don't have time to do all the bug testing or the security testing. So they'll hire places like Bugcrowd and they'll put a bounty up and they'll go ahead and try and get in. But these guys actually come in and they have to document everything. They have to show exactly how they got to the vulnerability. So if they're pen testing your network, you're just not getting a report that says, hey, we found a hole getting into your SQL server on TCP 1433. They're going to show you exactly how they did it and why and how it's vulnerable. And then they help resolve it, remediate that system. They do it for firewalling. They do it for artificial intelligence pen testing, web applications. I'm looking at network pen testing, your software APIs, IoTs. If you're using cloud services, they can test that. They even go so far as, some companies don't do this, but these guys offer a really cool one I like, which is the social engineering pen test. And that's where they actually try and get past your users. If you guys look at cybersecurity a lot, you're going to see pretty much the two easiest ways to get into a system are either a phishing email and getting somebody off guard, or social engineering by making a phone call. Everybody's getting tons of phone calls, say, I believe, saying, hey, this is either the IRS or you owe us a parking ticket or you're getting a text message. And these things are, most people realize that they're not real. However, we do have people who don't know. And actually, just before Christmas, my uncle called me for about the fourth time. And after having this happen a few times, they took $32,000 from him. They sent him a message saying your AT&T, there's an application for your phone at AT&T, you need to put it on. I don't know exactly what happened. He told me he went down to the store. Next thing he knows, they had a copy of his driver's license. They changed the photo. They walked into a bank and they took out $32,000 within 2 hours. So these guys will help test that and help train your users not to do that. I mean, the biggest vulnerability really is the human factor, right? Is people giving into something because we're a very trusting place. You're calling from the IRS. Oh, if I don't send this money, we'd be arrested. Okay, I'll send it. We know as IT people that anything that's pressured and you need to do now and it's got to get done, or you're going to go to jail, you're going to get a money penalty, something like that is usually bogus. But a lot of users don't, and that we find this all the time. So these guys help you prevent from doing that. The bug bounties and stuff are nice. A place like Facebook and Google and all these giant companies do this, and even small companies you may have never heard of. But that's not usually what a lot of our government customers do. They're either looking at their pen testing. They look at things like triage. If you get into a bad situation, they help remediate. And then they have this really neat thing that they have that actually, I'm actually talking, you guys know Tyler Brick. So I'm actually talking to Tyler Brick about it, which is they have 5 that are free, all right, to get your feet wet if you like. And if you are notified by anyone, or you think you got a phishing email, or you get notified by the police that, hey, or the FBI, we think somebody tried to get into your system, these guys for free will take some of their ethical hackers and try and vet that and see if it's real or not. They will go through the motions to try and see if that's actually a legit thing. Is it just, some bogus thing somebody put out there, or is it real? And they will define the steps and tell you, yeah, this is real, or this is not. There's 5 instances that are free. I would encourage anybody to take advantage of it. You may never use it, but it's free. And you don't get sucked into a big contract. They don't try and pressure anything. It's just free. But the idea is that you get to see what they can do and see what their skill set is. Once they do that, then you can, if you like, if you really enjoy it, you can go on and hire them for other services. You could go, I think for like, I don't know, $3,000 or $4,000 a year, you can have up to, I think it's 15 or 20 incidents. I forgot off the top of my head, but you can have like 15 or 20 incidents, and they will look at them. So, and if anybody has ever been hit with ransomware, or anybody potentially got phished for an email and somebody clicked the email and calls you up, says, oh, I clicked the email, did something happen? Is something going to happen? These guys will go in and look for that for you. This is all they do all day. I hate to use the term propeller heads, but they are propeller heads. This is what these guys do all day long. Sometimes I talk to them and I think I'm a beginner because they're so smart. Some of the things they do. These guys are legitimate in-depth hackers. And it's not a pool of 10 or 20 guys. These are thousands of guys that are around the world. And we're talking about top-notch guys that go anywhere from, doing basic little things like maybe they're trying to get into StarNet's firewall to doing things that go up to like trying to crack into Comcast or Motorola or even military grade stuff. When they do bug bash, they take their top hackers who've done the best, and then they put them literally live. You can go to the conference. It's a computer conference, if you will. And you can watch them on a big screen as they're working through the system. I haven't been to one, but I've seen YouTube videos of them, and it's really neat to watch these guys on a giant screen hacking away at these systems, and they pay them on the spot. I've actually seen the payments go out. I watched one of the guys who got Facebook for 100 grand. I watched the guy that's hacked Motorola for 50 grand. I mean, some of these guys literally can make, their living off of this because they're really, really good. But again, the goal with what they're doing is to help keep you guys safe. Everything now is security. Everything is being pushed. Everything's, MFA or some sort, or multiple factor. And if you don't have MFA, it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means you're one less padlock on your door that somebody can kick in, right? But even with MFA, it can be vulnerable, right? You can steal tokens. You can steal tokens out of somebody's browser. You can steal tokens out of somebody's email through a phishing email. There's all kinds of ways to do this. What I like about them is that you have this giant pool of guys, and they won't just give you one guy. They will give you access to a pool of them. Huge pool, so you can, not just have one guy's skill set looking at it because sometimes one guy might see something that another might. Jim and you and I work on things together. Sometimes you'll see something I don't or vice versa, and it helps to have that. And they work with you. All right. You don't just get this giant bill. Here you go. You're done. No, they will work with you to make sure you guys are safe and secure. The reason we signed up with them after some time is I had a discussion with our guys in distribution about it. And they said, are you using it? I said, well, we have some companies that do it. We had some companies we used previously, and they were okay, and they did a nice job. But these guys are like, these are the real deal. These guys are not just your home hacker breaking into somebody's Linksys modem. These guys are in-depth, highly trained, incredibly in-depth in the security field, and they stay current, which, as everybody knows, is really hard to do. It's hard to stay on top of it because every hour there's a new vulnerability. Every 5 minutes, somebody comes up with another piece of ransomware that has morphed from something previously. So the role I would tell you in government is not so much doing the bounties. You're welcome to do that. You can say, hey, look, we'll put out $100, and if one of you guys can hack into our firewall, we'll pay them $100. That's probably not what you guys are going to do. But you guys would probably be better off as having them look at your systems, trying to come in either with a pen test on firewall, application, internal pen test. Like I said, they can check your websites, they can check your cloud systems. If you're starting to use AI for things or program, you can use that. I mean, to be very honest with you, AI has got its great, wonderful points to it. It also has its downsides. And one of the downsides is it's a very limited amount of people that truly understand, how it works. It's when they say, well, just go ahead and do this and the computer runs it. But we have to be very, very careful when doing that. And these guys will check for that to look through that and really make sure that you guys are protected. Is anybody here? I don't know if anybody's here. I know you guys are on mute, but is anybody here using AI like heavily yet to do anything, automation or anything like that in your systems? I'm guessing no, but
No.
okay. Okay. Yeah.
No, I'm just doing a little dabbling with some AI, but AI in general disillusioned me because
Hmm.
to date I haven't found anything, and maybe it's the use case we're looking at where I can address an ROI.
Right. Right. I think part of I just had this discussion with somebody in my office yesterday. We were talking about it, and actually, they said to him, like, we thought about using AI. So, what do you want to use it for? Well, everybody seems to be using it, so we're going to use it. Okay, that's the worst reason to do something. You want to have a case. You don't go out and buy a Ferrari because everybody has one. You buy it because it's either you can afford it, you need it, you need it. And so, what I said to him is, well, are you looking to replace all your employees? And they said, no. I said, then what do you want it to do? Well, we're not sure. Okay, and that's fine. I mean, it's okay. You can still explore it. The day AI starts making my dinner for me in the microwave, like on Star Trek, and I could just order a steak and potatoes and it's done, then I'll be happy with it. Right now, again, it has its goods and bads. But personally, I can tell you from my point of view, I'd rather talk to a human than an AI system on the phone. One of the things that's actually kind of scary was only a few years ago. They actually, if your bank uses AI, uses voice to help authenticate you on the call. They were able to get around 92% of the banks using AI voice to imitate your own voice. You ever get a phone call and you're like, yes, hello, and maybe there's nothing on there? They're recording your voice most of the time. They're looking for that. I answer the phone. I used to say, this is Lou. Or, yes, this is Lou. Can I help you? What you never want to say is yes or no, ever, because they'll use that in a heartbeat. I'm just hello. That's it. I don't even want to give my name anymore. And I feel bad because my customer used to be picking, hey, this is Luke. Can I help you? If I know who it is on the phone, yes. But if I see this strange number come in, I'm like, hello. It doesn't even sound like a business anymore. It just sounds like being on my personal phone. But you have to be careful. They're using these things. There's a lot of malware and ransomware that's out there that's based on AI. A lot of the new patches that have come out in the last couple of months from Microsoft have broken things like the localhost file on the system and a couple other things. And I was talking to Joe in my office about it. He says, you know why that's happening? And I was like, no, he says, they're starting to use AI to write the operating system. Microsoft's actually trying to move your future desktop to a fully AI system. And I don't mean you talk to the system. I mean, it's all does its own thing. It manages itself. And I'm like, I said to Joe, is that going to put us out of business? He says, no. our phones aren't going to be lit up like Christmas trees constantly as this comes in. It's a change into the future. And there's, like I said, there's some good stuff and there's some not so good stuff. And yeah, if you can find the case for it, yes, but you also want to make sure that it's safe. If anybody here's ever put up a website before, maybe you programmed it. I used to do that years ago, but I'm sure that it wasn't as secure as it could have been by having somebody who's an expert in that field try and break through it. I mean, realize there's 65,535 TCP ports and UDP ports, right? That we have out there, ICMP ports. That's a lot of ports you have to defend against, right? And one bad piece of code can lead to vulnerability. Microsoft doesn't patch constantly because they're perfect programmers. They patch because they make a lot of mistakes and people can get in. So these guys help work against it, but it's not in it's not just Windows field. If you use Linux, Macs, any of that kind of stuff, they do that as well. So the big thing I would tell you guys, and I'm sorry, I think Brendan must have an emergency because I haven't gotten an email from him yet. And he did message me yesterday that he was available to be on. So the thing that I would tell you guys taking away is that these guys can help secure your platforms. You can dip your toe in, and they don't come in and do 5 security assessments for free. What they do is if you say, Greg, you called me up and said, hey, we got notified, or Tyler, we got notified by, I think it was like the FBI or something, that there's hackers in the area that say they're going to try and get into a water company in the local area. And so, he was put on high alert because he's one of them. And so these guys can go in, and he didn't have them at the time, but these guys can go in and they can actually try and see if there are vulnerabilities for that to make him aware before it happens. The idea, and people say, well, why would somebody put a bounty out? Like, why would they pay someone to hack their stuff? Well, because you'd rather put money out and have somebody that you know is going to ethically look at your system, ethically try and show you the vulnerabilities, give you the tools that were used to get around that. Then you get hacked, they get in your system, they destroy you, and then they publish all over the internet that, Township of Howell, New Jersey was hacked and they took everybody's social security number. Forget the embarrassment factor, forget the time lost having to do it. All of a sudden, credibility starts falling through the crack, falling through the floor. And now you have a bunch of people that, well, I'm not, I'm not doing any online anymore. I'm not using that. And a lot of the stuff today is, oh, go online, go online, pay online, use our credit card service. Most of you guys, if you're using a credit card service on your website, it's probably a third-party service. I doubt anybody here is writing their own credit card programs to put on. But even those companies are vulnerable. Just because you use them doesn't mean they're not vulnerable. You guys use software from people all the time that third party. And Jim, you and I have had multiple conversations about some of the software when they didn't have MFA on the web, and we had that battle going on, things like that. That you have to protect your own systems too. I mean, you have to have production, but you have to be protective, right? So the big thing with them is, yes, they can help you secure it, and they work at a very high level. They don't have to talk to you at a very high level. They can talk to you in, what I would say, normal layman terms, so you understand it. But they will work at a level that I think military grade is probably the best term I can use it, if necessary. Does anyone have any questions, or did I confuse anyone or anything?
Lou, one thing, why don't you put Brendan's contact information in
Yes, I will
chat?
do that.
So
Yes, I will do that. Let me get that
folks
on
have
top of
that
it.
and they could reach out to Bugcrowd if they're
Excellent,
interested.
excellent. Yeah, so I'll put you Brendan, and I'll also give you our other rep that we use is Zach Malone. I'll put him as well. Both of these guys are Zach he's our sales rep, but Brendan's in charge, and he does a lot of. Let me bring him up here. Here we go. Put him in here to the chat. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think everybody here has mine, but I think everybody here has my
Yeah.
cell phone actually. If needed, I think you guys have it.
Yeah, you can put your information in there
Yeah,
too,
just drop
Lou,
my
as
email. If you guys
well.
don't have my email address by now, all of you, I'm going to be very upset. It better be tattooed, your number tattooed to the back of your arm. But yeah, you can reach out to them. They can show you what they can do. There's if you guys want to see, I believe there's YouTube videos I can send you guys if you want to take a look and see some of the stuff they do. I mean, they're going to be a little, they're probably going to be a little razzle dazzle because they're showing that usually it's bug bash, but these guys are going for $1 million, and it's exciting to watch. It's quite interesting. Um, but yeah, but they can show you guys what they do, and they have lists. I mean, they go into more things than I discussed today. They have a huge set of tools that they can work with, and like I said, they're very keen to helping people. They're one of the big two companies out there. There's another company out there that does this as well that's very big and famous, and that's kind of their biggest competitor. But the guy that owns it, I think I told John yesterday, I believe he's out of Australia. I think he started out of Australia, and they've just grown around the world. Very, very cool stuff. It's bugcrowd.com if you want to take a look at this stuff, but you can actually look at, if you go to their website, on their website, I forgot where it is. Oh, I think it's engagements. There's a button you can see. Yeah, you can see what's being offered. So if Tyler Technologies Data and Insights, they're offering anywhere from $150 to $3,500. I know everybody knows who Tyler is here. That's to check. I don't know exactly what they're asking for, but they're one of the companies out there that you would probably know. OneTrust. So OneTrust is another big one. Zendesk, if you use them, Okta. Some of you guys are using Okta. These companies are all out there. I know Sophos is out there. Verisign, Just
Mhm.
Eat Takeaway.com, Under Armour. I mean, these are actually, let me put the link for that because it's kind of neat to watch. And it doesn't mean that these companies have bad software. That's not what we're saying. What these companies are doing, and I just put it in the chat, they're proactively saying we are concerned that our products are going to deliver, as they say, securely, so you don't have to worry about it. What happens is people say, oh, they're offering bounties. They must have vulnerabilities. Every piece of software in the world is a vulnerability. Everything. It doesn't matter what operating system, there's always something. But what these guys are saying is we're putting bounties out so that we can close them before somebody that we don't want in there does it. So they're building credibility and saying, hey, look, we want to be secure. We want to work towards our customers. And that's what you'll start seeing these companies start to do it. I mean, there's tons of TripAdvisor, Viator. I mean, there's just tons and tons of people out here. Some of them are small. Nubank is offering $50, to $4,000. But like I said, Facebook was 100,000, which I mean, that's like insane. And then there's Sophos was offering 80,000 if you can get into their antivirus. So it's interesting to see who's out there, what they're doing. I don't know if some of these other companies you guys might do, but I know Motorola's a big one, that kind of stuff. But there's a lot there. A lot of the apps you use for delivering food are on there. Oh, let's just call, I don't know if Grubhub specifically, but there's a few on there. Oh, let's just call and order food. We'll have it delivered from Grubhub. I'm more worried about the person picking up the food, picking my French fries out of the bag, and then delivering it to me more than them getting hacked. But at that time, yeah, they're checking for that because, we're going to an age where, coins are going away. Cash is next. It's going to be digital and credit cards or well, maybe not credit cards, but your digital, debits to pay. And these things are all stored somewhere. Your fingerprints, your uh, facial recognition when you go through the airport, all these things are going to be stored. These are all tools that somebody can use against us. So I'm sorry, John. I hope I didn't go too long. I apologize.
No, that's all right. Yeah, it sounds like Lou, in addition to, chasing after bounties, et cetera, uh, Bugcrowd provides, similar to other companies, uh, endpoint detection and response services, as well as overall managed detection and response services.
Yeah, their big thing is security. That company, the entire
Okay.
premise of that company is security from the tiniest little thing you might think of to your overall global wide area if you want. And they back it with thousands of vetted guys that are, this is all they do. Actually, somebody said to me, well, how can I trust these guys? They're not going to hack in and take something. I'm like, well, that's could be a possibility. I mean, besides the fact that they go through years of being vetted and trained and all this stuff, I said, it's not to their advantage because these guys are offered, so the bounties you see, so for example, Elite, you can't just go on there and start, hacking away and expect to get paid. You won't. You have to be one of their guys. So you have to go through the training. The fact that they offer so many things for some of them, I don't know if they're easy or not. They're ethical hackers, but they're offered a salary to go do something they enjoy as opposed to, well, let me try it, see if I can get some money out of it and possibly go to jail and ruin my life. Right. So they're allowing them to perform their job in an ethical manner and then get paid. So there's really no reason for them to go rogue, which is what they do. So I
Mhm.
tell people all the time. But yeah, but they do quite a bit. And like I said, they can look end to end through everything. It's a very neat company. Like I said, the things are free. You don't get roped to anything. Nobody's going to call you and try and harass you into it. but they do have smaller things. I think it's like 3 or 4 grand. They give you like up to 12, 15, 18, 20 instance, I forget, where they'll actually go through it and you can use them whenever you want, however you want. So it's very cool. It's a neat product. We love it.
Was everybody able to get the information from the chat that
Yes.
Lou put out there? Okay. All right. I just wanted to be sure everybody got Brendan's information so you could reach out to him. Unfortunately, as I said, and as Lou explained to us, something must have come up with him, an emergency, and he was unable to participate in this breakfast with Jeebus. But I'm sure we'll schedule with Brendan at some later date, and we'll talk to him at some point.
Yeah, at least this way you're getting someone who actually uses their products and tells you like we actually use them. We tell you why we love them. Obviously,
Yeah.
he's going to tell you because he works there and so on. But I always love when engineers come on more than salespeople, to be honest with you, because I feel you get a more
Mm.
honest thing. They're not just trying to push their product. They're telling you what really goes on. But yeah, but if you guys need, if you ever guys needed references or you want to, oh, do they do police stations? Oh yeah, tons. We've actually been asked by quite a few to provide references to other places that have used them, and that they can give you a list a mile long.
Now, are they also certified, Lou, for CISOs type data?
Yeah, they actually go all the way up to federal.
Top secret SCI?
Yeah, well, I can't tell you every single thing they have, but they can do yeah, Siege's yes, because we do some police stations with them. They're certified for that.
Okay.
They do federal government stuff. That's the real pain in the butt to get into, the federal government. And I believe if you're working with
Trust me, I know.
the
I work for the federal
military,
government.
I'm pretty sure they'll be certified for local as well. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, they have full access. And like I said, they work in many countries around the world. So it's not just the United States. I know you guys are here, but they work in many countries. So they they have quite a list of certifications.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Lou or otherwise?
Oh, I'm good.
Awesome.
Okay, thanks. Uh,
Thanks
uh,
for listening to me go on this morning. I appreciate it.
I want to thank you, Lou, for picking up the ball here and running with it.
That's all right.
So we didn't have a complete flop of a
Nothing like a little pressure to wake you up in the morning.
well, yeah, nothing like a little excitement to get us going, right?
And
With
John,
our
you're still calm.
again, I want to thank everybody. NJ GMIS wants to thank you. We run these events regularly. There's a list out on the NJ GMIS website of scheduled events. So I'd recommend you look for those events and you continue to participate in them. Uh, it's interesting, these events. You may think, well, what am I going to get out of this? I typically find that I usually gain at least one little piece of wisdom by participating in these events. Not necessarily GMIS, other events that occur on a regular basis that you're all aware of. We could spend our whole day sitting through these Zoom meetings, etc. However, again, I want to thank you. I want to thank Lou. Uh, reach out to Brendan at Bugcrowd. The one thing it sounds like they may be able to do for you, depending on your costs or how much you're investing today for EDR and MDR services. I know I invest a fair amount of money. I use checkpoint services.
Mhm.
We're pretty much a checkpoint shop and have the full suite of Checkpoint Harmony products.
They can
That
check your stuff for you if you want, John, to make sure it's secure if you really
I'm
want.
sorry. What was that, Lou? I'm
I said
sorry.
they can check your checkpoint stuff to make sure it's secure if you want.
There you go. I'll have them check the checkers.
Yeah, and
That
if you
was
guys have questions, I'm happy to answer, or if I can help you in any way, let me know for sure.
sure. And as you all know, I think everybody knows Lou here. Lou's an honest broker, so what we heard today, you can pretty much go to the bank with. Uh, Also, for Lou, StarNet Solutions, I'd recommend considering them. for some of your IT requirements, speak to Lou. As I said, he's the owner and CEO of StarNet Solutions, and he should be able to help you out. At least he could point you in the right direction, let's say that. If there are no questions and everybody was able to capture Brendan's information from the chat, I'll conclude the meeting. So first, let's see, are there any questions that anybody would like to ask?
Not, they'll probably hit me up after the call.
All right, Lou, I'll send you my 50,000 questions. How's that?
So look,
No worries.
Jim was already in the background writing his thesis.
Yeah. Jim's got it.
I'm on my second notepad.
Yeah, but again, folks, I want to thank those of you that participated today for participating, and hopefully you got something of value from this meeting. And again, we'll be holding these on a regular basis. They'll always be on a Thursday at 9 o'clock. And the information will be sent out. If you're a member of NJGMIS, you'll certainly get those emails from Christina. But we'll continue to advertise them. And if there's no questions, I'll conclude the meeting. And again, thank you, Lou, for
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
taking the
Thank you
ball
very
and running
much.
with
Thanks,
it.
Lou. Thanks, John. I really appreciate everything today.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Okay, bye-bye now.
All right, bye, folks.
Thanks.
I'm gonna end the
Bye-bye.
meeting. Thank you.